Thank you, Chairman. Maybe I'll start in English and we can get back to Sirasa as well. So, having taken the responsibility of looking at our cricket, there are few areas which we need to look at in this game. Success comes when lots of things come together, not one aspect. So if you look at international cricket, you may be hearing things about fitness, skill levels, mental side. Different aspects have to come together for a game to flourish. And our focus is to try and see what those areas are and improve all those areas. So if you take a national team which is about to tour, one vital area I feel is their mental makeup. They need to have a positive mindset. They need to basically think about the right things when you're going to play cricket. And that's something we as cricketers have always felt, the right mindset. You need to be relaxed, you need to play the game the way you should be. So we are trying to support them in this area as one thing. I think we have got a very interesting and good coach in Gary Kirsten. In fact, he made a very interesting statement to me when I asked him, what do you see as issues in our cricket? And he said, look, you have talent, you have a lot of talent. But he said, they need to fly in formation. So what it shows is, teamwork, working together and uniting as a team is the key. And our job as administrators is to make sure we support that system, that we are impartial, objective, and we support the system. We've just started, but we have looked at 3 areas which we feel, and I strongly feel too, are very critical. One is our standard of coaching. When I say standard of coaching at the school level and below, you see, one thing that happened in our country and a lot of people never thought about it is after 1996 we had a huge cricket boom. The game went from the city to the villages and everybody was wanting to play cricket. But there was not enough focus on developing and working on our coaches. So because of that, we have coaches which lack experience, lack exposure, and their knowledge isn't rounded enough. It's like you pass your doctor's exam and then you start working, right? And then you get experience. It's like that. Some of our coaches may have a paper qualification, but they need to know how to discuss pros and cons of batting, bowling, whatever. So one thing we are trying to do is broaden their horizon, broaden their knowledge. And to start with, we have actually started a coaching program for all under-19 schools, 36 if I'm not mistaken. On the 25th, Gary Kirsten has told us he'll help us and we're going to start with a coaching program. And I will also talk to the children. But this is just the beginning. We need to give them different aspects of the game, different ways of looking at this, because I have been to schools, and I sometimes look at the coaches and I ask them, why do you do this? They don't know. They've just learned, okay, do this. But I think the most important thing is to be able to discuss the pros and cons of this process. You need to know why you do this and why not something else. So that knowledge we are trying to bring as quickly as possible to our under-19. Because if we look at the under-19 level, that knowledge will trickle down and trickle up. So if we start there, because we have to start somewhere, we have coaching problems, I'm sure, down the line. When I say coaching problems, I'm not blaming any coach. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying is we need to give them more knowledge so that they can handle the players better. Another area which we feel very strongly about is umpiring and refereeing. We are in the process of looking at that area, giving them a lot more authority and support because our umpiring standard needs to be high. If the umpiring standards are high, then the players learn how to play the game the way they should, and you wouldn't see poor behavior or anything like that. So that is a very important thing. We are working on that. Hopefully by next week we are going to come up with, I'm talking to all the international umpires in Sri Lanka, and we are going to come up with a formula where we will have a better system of umpiring and the referee. So it is us supporting them to do their job better and recognize them for what they are doing. I personally feel that our umpires are not treated as well as they should be, in many ways. So we need to up their game as well, and also continuously expose them to better methods, the latest thinking with the ICC, etc., etc., and up the standards. So if the level of umpiring goes up and if the level of coaching goes up, then we have made a good start. The other thing we are looking at seriously is curating, because we have been told, I'm not very sure about this, but we have been told that wickets in the countryside and school wickets need to be better. So we are looking at a system where we can maybe have a curating manager to overlook all this and make sure the wickets are more consistent. Because if a young kid plays cricket on a bad wicket, then you can't ascertain whether he's going the right way or the wrong way. Because when you're up against international cricketers and cricket, you need to play on good wickets. I've been told that there are clubs or schools that start with 2 spin bowlers. That's a no-no, You can't play good cricket playing like that. So that is another area we are looking at. So those are 3 areas we are looking at very urgently. We are also looking at the high performance center, how it's operating, how we should be operating, and things like that, related to coaching, etc. But as I said, it's early days, so we are just coming to the third. We've just had 2 board meetings, but we are working as fast as we can. Whilst the most important thing is not forgotten, that is the transitional committee was appointed to do something, and I think that's the most important thing we have to do. So whilst we are looking at the cricket, we will be looking at all those things. So bear with us, we will have more to tell you maybe as we go along. Oh, you all understood that? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, very briefly. අපි දැන් ඒ areas 3ක් බලනවා. First team එක, අපේ test team එක, A team එක, ඒවල තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න මොනවද? ඒවා විසඳන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා අපි දැන් බලාගෙන යනවා. මම ගැරි කර්ස්ටන්ගෙන් අහුවමත් කිව්වේ player talent එකේ අඩුපාඩුවක් නැහැ. එයා කියන්නේ we have to get them. මේ ක්‍රීඩාවේ තියෙනවනේ අංශ 3ක්, fitness, player skill and the mental side. ඒ තුන හරියට වැඩ කරනවා නම් ඔක්කොම වැඩ කරනවා. ඉතින් අපි ඒක ගැන තමයි දැන් ફોකස් කරලා බලන්නේ කොහොමද ඒ සිටුේෂන් එක ඉම්ප්‍රූව් කරන්න කියලා. ඒක වුණාම මට හිතෙනවා අපේ ක්‍රීඩාවේ වෙනසක් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පේන්න පුළුවන්. අනිත් එක තමයි under 19 coaching. මට හිතන්නේ ඒක තමයි තියෙන ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ප්‍රශ්නයක් කියන්නේ coachesලාගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙවෙයි. අපි administration එකක් හැටියට ඒ coachesලාට exposure එක දීලා නැහැ, experience එක මදි. ඒගොල්ලොන් exam එකක් pass කරලා කියනවා මම උදාහරණයක් දෙන්නම්. මම ඉස්කෝල වලට ගිහින් දිනවා. ඒගොල්ලොන් කියන්නේ forward ගහන්නේ මෙහෙමයි. ඉතින් මම අහනවා ඇයි මෙහෙම ගහන්නේ, මෙහෙම ගහන්න බැරි. උත්තරයක් නැහැ. ඒක නැත්තේ අර all round exposure එක නැති හින්දා. ඒ කට්ටියට දැනගන්න ඕන කොහොමද ක්‍රීඩාව ගැන සාකච්ඡා කරන්නේ, කොහොමද explain කරන්නේ. අර හේතුඵල ක්‍රියාදාමය හොඳට තේරෙනවා මදි. ඒක තමයි දැන් අපි හදන්නේ under 19 එකෙන් පටන් ගන්න. එතනින් උඩටයි එතනින් පල්ලෙහාට එක්ස්පෝෂර් එක දෙන්නේ. curating කියන්නේ අපිට ගොඩාක් කියලා තියෙනවා මේ grounds වල wickets වල තත්ත්වය හොඳ මදි කියලා. හැබැයි මේ අවුරුද්දේ ටිකක් improvement එකක් තිබ්බා කිව්වා. හැබැයි ඒ ප්‍රශ්නේ ගැනත් අපි පුළුවන් තරමක් ඉක්මනින්ම බලලා සලස්සන්න හදනවා. අම්පයරින් and refereeing අනිත් ඒරියා එක අපිට ගොඩාක් ප්‍රශ්න කියලා තියෙනවා. ඒකත් මම දැන් අපි මීටින්ග්ස් දෙකක් තිබ්බා. එන සුමාන වෙනකොට ඒක ගැනත් අපි තීරණ ටිකක් අරගෙන ක්‍රමවේදය වෙනස් කරන්නයි හදන්නේ. ඉතින් අපිට තව චුට්ටක් කල් දුන්න මම අපිට තවත් කියන්න පුළුවන් මොනවද කරන්නේ කියලා. මට දැනට නම් එච්චරයි කියන්නේ.
Now we are going to the Q&A session. I know you guys have a lot of questions to be answered. We'll take one question at a time. Please